2024. It's your boy Icon, still a little hoarse, but on with the show. And let's talk about some MIB. Let's talk about the wrestling. So, if you've been following any of my wrestling reviews up until this point, you'll know the one match I was honestly not happy with. But overall, it was a damn good show. It was very enjoyable. And the men did the damn thing in that, but we're gonna talk about that. Also, NXT Heatwave is tonight, and I'm gonna do a review for NXT Heatwave. Hopefully it doesn't drag on for too long and I can do it and go to sleep. So now, talking about this wrestler, this Money in the Bank. Before we get started, hit the notification bell, like and or subscribe to my YouTube channel, because we got a lot of great stuff coming up, and I want to enjoy all of it and share all of it with you guys. So there was no pre-show match. But this particular show started. It started with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. LA Knight, Jey Uso, Andrade, who I actually forgot was in the match, Carmelo Hayes, Drew McIntyre, and the other person who I forgot for some reason. But the highlight of Chad Gable, my boy Chad Gable, thank you. The highlight of the entire Money in the Bank men's ladder match was Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes made everyone look like a cajillion dollars. And Carmelo Hayes will never get, unfortunately, he will never get the respect that he's due to making everybody in that match look as good as they did. Because that boy shined in that. I wanted him to win. Like, he was actually my pick to win. But the crazy thing is, I didn't think Drew McIntyre was going to win. I picked Carmelo Hayes, but I thought there was going to be a moment where Drew McIntyre was going to climb the ladder, get ready to grab the briefcase, and then right before he grabs the briefcase, CM Punk was going to show up and screw him out of grabbing the briefcase. So that didn't happen. So towards the end of the match, we had the yay boo spot, or in this case, the yeet yay spot the yeet yeah spot between LA Knight and Jey Uso. And then in the end, it came down to Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre hit him with the Claymore. There was one move where Andrade did a sunset power bomb onto a ladder that he did to Carmelo Hayes, and then they thought Carmelo Hayes had died. But then Drew McIntyre climbed the ladder, he grabbed the briefcase, and to my surprise, Drew McIntyre is now Mr. Money in the Bank. And he did say that when he wins Money in the Bank, he was going to cash in on the same night on either on Priest and Rollins, so he can win back the World Heavyweight Championship. So that I have a problem with that, and then that's exactly what he did. But it was a good match. It was actually a little shorter than I thought it would be, but it was definitely a good match. Like, I did enjoy it, and like I said, give all props to Carmelo Hayes for doing the damn thing. Like I said, for putting everybody. He even got cut over his head too. I saw that, which was crazy. The next match was actually the Intercontinental Championship match, Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker. And I didn't think that would be that low on the card because we're in Canada and that's where Sami Zayn is from. This was a good match between the two of them. But in the end, and Braun Breaker, his countering ability is like off the chain, like his reactions to other moves and everything. But Sami Zayn got the win. And it's not that I'm surprised that Sami Zayn got the win. It's more so the surprise of like how he won, because he basically like beat him straight up. Like, there was no shenanigans. Like, and I'm not saying there had to have been like interference, there had to have been cheating or the referee getting knocked out. Or I like, at the very least, I thought they were gonna do something where Braun Breaker was gonna cost himself the victory by accident and make a mistake, and then Sammy would capitalize on that mistake, and then later Braun is just like, I had you, like I almost beat you, you didn't beat me, it's like we both know that if I didn't make the mistake that I made, you wouldn't have beat me, which kind of gives him an out a little bit, and then it allows him to get a rematch so Sammy can try to fight him again. And I know that the end game with the with Sami Zayn losing the Intercontinental Championship, I know the end game for that is to lose it to Chad Gable, which I'm perfectly happy with, but he just beat Braun Breaker straight up. Like, Braun Breaker went for the spear. Sami Zayn kicked him in the face. He went into the corner. He hit the haluva kick, and that was it. So now I don't know where Braun goes from here now, because it's like, what are you going to do? Like, you going to beat his ass again until you get another title match? Like, you don't deserve another title match now. So, but he did do the damn thing. Like, he did prove himself. And the size difference between Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn is uncanny. It almost looks like when I'm watching the match, I'm like, Braun Breaker looks too big for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm like, maybe he should just go fight Seth Rollins or go after Damien Priest or something. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm not mad at the outcome. I was just shocked by by like the finish of like how he won. So we'll move on to the next one, which was John Cena announcing his retirement from WWE. And as sad as that is, and I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really care. Like, he's been out of it anyway. Like he pops in every once in a while. he's doing the movie, like he's doing Peacemaker season 2. Like I'm waiting for Peacemaker season 2, so I'm looking forward to Peacemaker season 2. So this isn't me having a gripe against John Cena. It's just like when he's just like, "Oh, hey guys, I know I haven't really been here in like the last 3 years, but I'm retiring," and I'm like, "But you weren't here anyway." So there was no like surprise factor of it, but he did say he was going to do a 2025 like farewell tour. So that should be cool. Because if you think the fans have been crazy now, if you think the fans have been going bananas and doing all sorts of like wild shit now, wait till he does this farewell tour. Like that'll actually be interesting. So we'll see what's going to happen. He said that he said, and it's true. He said that every pay-per-view that he competes in, it'll be his last one. He said January will be his last Royal Rumble. And hopefully he competes in the Royal Rumble and doesn't have a one-on-one match. He said, WrestleMania next year is going to be his last WrestleMania. But he did say he was going to do a complete calendar year, so he's going to compete from January to December, which means he's most likely going to wrestle at every single pay-per-view. So we'll see who the challengers are. Like some people are going to beat him, some people he's going to lose to. His final match should probably be a tribute to the troops to Randy Orton. But I'm not in favor of giving him the championship and breaking, Ric Flair's record. Not so much because of Ric Flair, but I honestly think like Randy Orton should break that record. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, but John Cena is retiring, and we're moving on to now the women's Money in the Bank match. Yeah, and that was another thing. Like after in the press show, like in the post show after the pay-per-view was over, Drew McIntyre ran up on the post show and basically caused havoc. So that was actually pretty funny. So on to the next match, which was the women's Money in the Bank match. And because of the sheer disappointment of the entire thing, there's really nothing for me to say here. Tiffany Stratton won the match, and I wanted to completely hurl, and at that point, I just wanted to turn off the show and go to sleep. Like I was that upset. I mean, it was very brutal. Because it's different. It's different with men and women because of the strength difference. Like men can easily pick up ladders. They can easily pick up tables. Like Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green at one point, they were trying to set up a table, and it looked like the two of them together couldn't even come up with the combined strength to put that thing together. And if they want to play it off, they could have played it off as like because they're both like high class, rich, like prissy girls that don't want to get their nails broken. They could always use that as the reason why they struggled, but it's just different. It's just so when the women get hit, it looks worse because like they literally look like they've killed themselves. Lyra shined as always, like Naomi did her thing. I was pulling for Naomi to win the match. She didn't win the match, but it's like, for the love of God, I gave that shit to Tiffany Stratton. So hopefully she becomes the first woman ever to not successfully cash in a Money in the Bank contract. She's friends with Nia Jax, who gets a women's championship match against Bayley at SummerSlam. And I think what's probably going to happen is Nia's going to lose to Bayley at SummerSlam. But because Tiffany and Nia are friends, once the match is over, Nia's going to beat Bayley ass and then tell Tiffany to cash in. And whether or not she allows Tiffany to cash in or if Tiffany blows the cash in, that's nothing. But for the love of God, I swear to God, if they put the belt on this chick, I'm not watching the SmackDown women's division until. Can we get women's mid-card titles so I can focus on that, please? Because they said this is ridiculous. But yeah, Tiffany Stratton won, so we'll see. And we're moving on to the main event, which was the 6-man tag: Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton versus the Bloodline. I mean, again, this match, I wasn't really that into this match either. It was a 6-man tag. I mean, we pretty much knew where this was going. The surprise at the end of the match was that Solo Sikoa himself pinned Cody Rhodes. But then when you think about it, that's so it can lead into the match that the two of them are going to have at SummerSlam. And I guess at SummerSlam, that's probably when Roman will come back or when Paul Heyman comes back or whatever. But yeah, so we're getting Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa at SummerSlam. The heels won the tag team match, and that was how we went off the air. In the post-show, John Cena talked about his retirement. CM Punk showed up, and then he answered a couple of questions, like Triple H answered questions. So it was a pretty decent post-show. Like I said, the only cool thing that happened was Drew McIntyre basically he elbowed Adam Pearce in the face, and then so he's gonna get a fine for that. And then Wade Barrett stepped in. There were 2 step-ins during this match, and both of them were because of CM Punk. When Drew McIntyre was tearing up the post-show announce desk, Wade Barrett had to step in and tell him, bro, calm down, because if you touch Adam Pearce one more time, you're going to lose everything, and, you work too hard. Wade Barrett should get back into the ring just to back up Drew McIntyre at this point. And then in the men's, I forgot about the damn World Heavyweight Championship match. So the World Heavyweight Championship match, Damien Priest versus Seth freaking Rollins. I knew I was forgetting something. Seth Rollins, they fought, they had a match. There was a moment where Damien Priest got pinned by Seth Rollins. The referee counted 3. Priest never kicked out. And then the referee was just like, "Oh, it was two, it was two," and I was like, "What the hell did you see?" Like, I mean, I guess he can always lie and say he thought that he got his like right shoulder up. I don't know. They asked Triple H about it in the press conference. Triple H's like, "Yo, what the fuck you want me to say?" Like Triple H's like, "Yo, he messed up." He said he's definitely gonna have a conversation with the referee and ask him what he saw, but he was just like, "Look, he messed up, he messed up." So, I mean, it would have been. I don't know if the referee thought Drew's music was gonna hit to interrupt the pin, or maybe Priest thought Drew's music was gonna interrupt the pin, which is why Priest never kicked out. I don't know, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, botches happen, and that's just gonna. I mean, but what they need to do is like, this can't be a thing where they're just like, "Oh, he botched the move. Oh well." No, they can't do that. Seth has to actually bitch about that on Monday. Seth has to actually come out and be, because again, we all know behind the curtain. We know how the show works by now. Just play into it in real life. Like, just have Seth Rollins come out tomorrow and be like, "Yo, I beat you. The referee thought you kicked out. He missed it. I never actually but he can't because the stipulation was he could never fight for the title again." But then after the pin debacle, then Drew McIntyre showed up like he said he would. He cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, and then he turned the match into a triple threat. So kudos to him for being a man of his word and not sneaking up on the champion from behind. He actually tried to beat the champion like face to face because he inserted himself into the match. And after, when it got to the point where he hit those claymores and he was about to get the 1, 2, 3 on somebody, CM Punk came out of the crowd and he beat the shit out of Drew McIntyre. Like, he beat his ass. Like, and his bicep looks perfectly fine. He was throwing punches, he was throwing kicks and everything. He wailed on him with a chair. He even busted him in the head with the heavyweight championship. And then Damien Priest got back up. He choke slammed Drew McIntyre, and then and then Damien Priest retained the championship. So Damien Priest is still the World Heavyweight Champion. He told the Judgment Day to not come out and help him because he doesn't need help, but he keeps getting help from CM Punk. So that's going to be a thing. The fact that he actually didn't kick out is going to be a thing, and we'll see what happens on Monday. But then after the match, after Drew McIntyre was laying in his own shame, and Damian Priest was walking away shaking his head because he's like, "Yo, I can't believe this guy like interfered in my match again. Like, I was trying to win." Then Seth Rollins did the thing that, and I love the realism of this entire pay-per-view. There was even a moment where Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus got into it, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I actually would want to see that match. But the realism on the show today was uncanny because after the match was over, Seth Rollins walked over to where CM Punk was on the announce desk, and he basically cursed him out. And then this is when the second breakup happened because Wade Barrett had to hold Drew McIntyre back in the post-show, and then when Seth Rollins tried to roll up on CM Punk and try to talk shit to CM Punk because he was like, "Yo, you interfered," because let's keep it real. CM Punk cost Seth Rollins the World Heavyweight title for interfering. Corey Graves had to step in and hold back Seth Rollins to prevent Seth Rollins from running up on Punk. So I'm like, a lot of people are being held back by, like, Punk's made a lot of enemies. Like, we'll just say that. Like, Punk's made a lot of enemies. But it was cool. They even made jokes about Jey Uso, and Tama Tonga being back allowed in Canada. That's it. But that was how the pay-per-view ended. And thank you for tuning in. So if you go back and watch this on replay, watch, like, the pre-show, watch the post-show, pay attention to the details, because the most interesting stuff that happened outside of the men's world title and the men's Money in the Bank match, the most interesting stuff that happened was basically like on the post stuff, like with the backstage interviews and everything. But it was a solid pay-per-view. Like, I thought it was good. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 because Tiffany Stratton won the Money in the Bank, and I didn't care about the main event, the 6-man tag, but everything else before that, everything that took place up until Tiffany Stratton won, I thought was good. So I'll give this pay-per-view a 7.5. Go check this one out and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I got NXT Heatwave coming up, everybody. I got My Adventures of Superman up on my channel, Suicide Squad Isekai, and we still got that fashion swimsuit show coming up at the end of the month for you all to check out. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in for some more wrestling. Signing off, WWE, Money in the Bank, and we're out this.